It's funny. Filming this car right now, I just laugh. He's getting to know this machine. I am just baffled by how a modified Nissan Maxima, because in all honesty, when you drive an R33 GTR, that is what it feels like. As someone who's driven a lot of cars, I'm telling you, it feels like you put, $20,000 into a Maxima, made it all-wheel drive and turboed it, had it tuned properly for drivability and performance, and you set it at 70% of its potential and put all-season tires on it. That's what you get here. So that what I just described would cost you $30,000, roughly. If you do most of the work yourself. You could go take out a loan, buy a new Civic, Accord, or a multitude of other new cars that have the exact same capabilities as this. Or you could take your chance and hopefully win the auction and pay $70,000+ for this. Now, if you're at all like me, I know that it's just monopoly money that we work our lives for, then no big deal. You're trading some hours of your time for a video game icon. Because, that's what this is. The car we all drove in our video games at home because the United States sucks and wouldn't allow these to come. Because, we live in the land of the free. Sorry, I don't feel well. But yeah, I guess it's just the fun of the collecting part. And true collectors, my friends, they've spent a lot of their life figuring out how to make as much monopoly money as possible. So now they call on me, who spent his life learning how to master a craft. So I guess it's good teamwork. The only problem is the world we live in, the people that we put in charge of us, or in charge of the collective, and it was just supposedly just the collective safety, transportation, and commerce is all they were supposed to be in charge of. And then we allowed our grandparents to let them, or we didn't allow it. Our grandparents allowed them to take our gold, something of actual intrinsic value, true human value. We can go down that rabbit hole as to whether or not I feel it's truly valuable or not, but that's irrelevant. The rest of the world considers it a commodity. We have coffee, silver. We have a lot of things we could have used and kept using, but the government convinced us that allowing them to hold and protect the gold was in our benefit, and they would hold the gold and protect it, and that way no one would want to rob it from us, and they could give us these pieces of paper. And then like 30 years after we'd said, oh, all right, yeah, that sounds like a good idea, they said, hey, yeah, we're switching this over. We're going to keep your gold. Your dollar is no longer going to be worth any gold. And yeah, you're just going to use the paper as currency. And it's worth something because we tell you it is. And they got people so used to using the paper that the people didn't even care, because their parents never told them how valuable the gold was. And now the paper that they taught us to work our lives for is worthless. Because by today's standards, like, if this sells for $70,000, it's honestly not worth that much gold. And it's not that impressive what they're worth. So 25 years after these things were built, is it worth it to have held on to them based on inflation? I don't know. We're going to have to do some calculations, find out if we're in the right field or not. Because I know I've worked in automotive for 20 years. And I still can't buy a house. It hurts. It's painful to think. 35 with 2 kids and I got to rent an apartment. I don't even have a backyard for my kids. That's just theirs, where they can just go outside and be safe and be a kid like I got the ability to do. And it's all because my grandparents were too concerned with feeding their families to read anything about what was taking place. And now I have friends who have been educated like myself who tell me I am the one who's wrong. I just need to shut up and comply. And just work and follow the rules. This is why I suffer. And I am not going to ever believe that. My parents taught me otherwise, and I am unable to be convinced that complying to another human being is what's going to put me at peace. Now, mind you, recently I have been at peace, and it was 100% realizing that I ran my whole life from something I knew to be true, and I finally surrendered, started working on it, and living it, and I finally feel that peace that surpasses all understanding.